Hello students, today we are going to discuss is force and laws of motion. The beautiful and the fundamental quantity of the universe, which is force. In 8th standard, we have discussed the effects of force. That force can change the state of motion. Force can change the direction of motion. Force can change the shape of the object, or force can increase or decrease the speed. Now we are talking that how these changes are taking place. And for that, two types of forces are explained in our chapter. It means that why the object is coming in motion or coming in rest, everything is dependent on force. So the question arises, what is force? How it works? From where it comes? Which are the factors on which it is dependent? All these answers we will get from these laws of motion in this chapter. The beauty which I like about the quantity force, that all the forces, all the changes, the effects of all that we can see. Everything can be done on the basis of forces only. But force is unseen till today. Right? Think on this. Now, there are two types of forces, that is balanced force and unbalanced force. Keep these two diagrams in your mind, which is given in our textbook also in the form of two children and big box. They are pushing the box. Same thing I had drawn schematically over here. Say we want to move this box. Then if the applied forces are from the opposite directions, can it move? Say I want to move this box. One person is applying force from this direction, one person is applying force from this direction, like this. It is this first figure I am showing you. Imagine like this. In this situation, you can understand that the forces are balanced. It means the net effect of that external force which we are applying will be zero. The object will not move at all. And that's why we are saying that result is zero. But for unbalanced force, see this second case. The forces are applied from the one direction only. Just imagine that game tug of war, in which two teams are pulling the rope in their direction. Till the forces are balanced from both the sides, it is equal, it is the same, the rope will not move. It will be at rest. But as soon as the winner team, which will be afterwards declared, the winner team will pull the rope in their direction, the forces are becoming unbalanced, and in that situation, the resultant of the unbalanced force is non-zero. That means the object will change the state of motion if some unbalanced something is there. Till now scientists were not knowing that also, that what is that. But it has been told that if something which is unbalancing, then the object will move in that unbalanced force direction. So the resultant effect of unbalanced forces are always non-zero. Based on this, the scientist Galileo has also performed lots of experiments. Out of that, his experiments of two slopes is very famous. And he found that something is coming from the surface which is stopping the ball. That means if I am rolling the ball from one height, one slope, it will achieve the same height on the second slope. Gradually he has reduced the slope and finally the second slope has been done horizontal. That means you have to imagine like this. So the ball comes from here and this is the horizontal surface on which the ball has to travel. But still that ball doesn't go forever. That means it doesn't remain in motion forever. It stops somewhere after traveling some time. And that means something in the surface is stopping the ball. That force is frictional force that we have studied in 8th. And from that, the very fundamental and important concept for the laws of motion we are getting, that an object remains in a state of rest or of uniform motion unless compelled to change the state by applied force. If the object is already in motion and traveling with uniform motion, it wants to be remain in that state of motion. If we are at rest, we are sitting, we want to remain in that state only. But what happens? Can we sit forever? No. Some forces are coming. Phone is ringing, mom is calling, friends are calling for playing, homework, we remember I have to complete my homework. All these are the external forces which is compelling us to change our state of motion. It compels. Till that time, object wants to be in that state only. Still the beauty is there. That first reaction, that object will oppose that change. And that tendency, it is the tendency of every living and non-living objects that they don't want to change their state of motion. First thing, if I want to move this bench with my two hands, if gently I am pushing it, the bench will not move. We have discussed that push or pull is a kind of force, which is the simplest definition. Then what happens? That object is opposing that applied force. But when the oppose from that surface is balanced by the external force, and still the external force has been higher than that, more than that, then only the object will change its state of motion. So again, the tendency of undisturbed objects to stay at rest or in the state of uniform motion, the tendency to remain in that state is known as inertia. Practically, we are having lots of examples of inertia. You all are playing carom, and in that try that all the dice, you make a stake of that, pile of that, and just strike the lower one. Only that lower one will come in the motion, rest of the stack will come in the same position. Still, I will perform one activity for you just now. We are having a glass, a cardboard and a 5 rupee coin. Just now the cardboard and coin both are at rest. Now I had flipped the cardboard. You can see that coin was at rest. It does not want to come in motion. So the card is flipped, but the coin falls in the glass. Besides that, the common example we all had faced, that if I am sitting in a bus or if I am sitting on any of the vehicle, it is at rest. Vehicle is at rest. Suddenly it comes in motion. It starts. In which direction we are leaning? We are falling. We are leaning backward. Second situation, that I am already in motion. I am driving a vehicle. I am sitting in a bus. Suddenly I have to apply brakes, or the driver is applying brakes. What will happen? That we are leaning forward. If we are getting off from any moving vehicle, and suddenly if we are not running in that direction, then we may fall down. What is the explanation for that? That when we were at rest and the bus comes in motion, the lower part of our body still wants to remain at rest, but it comes in motion. Lower part comes in motion. The upper part opposes that change in state of motion, and for fractions of second it remains backward. And opposite to that, when we are already in motion, the forward part that is in motion, that opposes that change to stop. The lower part, which is the seat portion, that comes at rest compared to the upper portion faster. So this upper part is still in motion, and that's why we are falling forward in that situation. Just think on that, find few more examples of this. And the last concept for today, the mass of an object is the measure of inertia. Whatever is the mass of the object, if the object is heavy, that is the mass of this object. That much inertia the object will have. And from this, we are getting the first law of motion, that unless an unbalanced force is applied to the object, object will continue in its state of motion.